Welcome back to the Think Small podcast. My guest today is Christopher Hussain from RealKey. Today we're going to be jumping in and talking about his software to help mortgage brokers expedite their processes when it comes to getting quotes out and being more efficient with their clients. I'm really excited to have this discussion. Christopher, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, happy to be here. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so I was listening to our prep call, and I always like to jump in with these and start the podcast with a high-level background on your company, right? For those that don't know you, don't know RealKey, I want you to give us some background.
Yeah, happy to do that. I know mortgage can be confusing for most people, especially if they've not been in the industry. Everybody's bought a house, but few people have actually been the person on the other side doing the loans. So our system, RealKey, we're actually automating mortgage processing and underwriting. So our main paying users are mortgage professionals, but of course, this also works for obviously home buyers, clients. Essentially, it's the industry's first ever deal room. We built this with the Google AI ML cohort, so very competitive getting into that, and that scratches that AI itch that everybody's looking for. Essentially what we did was our system goes through and takes a loan application, whether you filled it out over phone or with a banker in person, and essentially they import that into RealKey. It gives a comprehensive requirements list based off the loan application. If it's a broker, the lender, and then the loan program. And that way you know exactly what's needed, not just for you or for them, but what's unique about RealKey is that we do it for everybody. That means your real estate agent, title escrow, your landlord, your employer, the appraiser, the insurance agent, your CPA and accountant, your HOA, everybody is invited in to RealKey to meet the requirements list. So they get that as an email inviting them to upload documents or to simply email those back. Eventually, the documents get uploaded to RealKey, and then the Doc AI comes into play, recognizes within less than 30 seconds exactly what was uploaded, goes through and identifies it, attaches it to the requirements, and also either gives a thumbs up, hey, good job, you did everything you needed to do, or hey, you screwed up, we need to re-upload it, or you might have triggered something new. That way you don't have to wait for underwriting, you have to wait a few days, and during the busy season, even up to a week in many cases, and obviously there's holidays involved with that. And additionally, if you have questions, you're not calling, you're not emailing, people have so much spam these days, things get lost. Things are in different systems. This is one point of truth where everybody's uploaded to one place. And if they want to chat or communicate, they can do it through the system. And so it's a lot like Slack in that sense. If anybody's ever used that for their work, it's substantially more efficient. And so really that's the starting point for us. And eventually we would love to do this for automotive loans, for student loans, financial planning, wealth management. Heck, I'm going out to Hong Kong soon and over to Shenzhen in China. We've talked to many other countries about going through and utilizing this platform to go through and to utilize across each of their different geographies. So, a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, I could see how this could really, really help, right? I mean, I've bought a house before, and yeah, you're right, absolutely. The amount of documentation that you need to provide can be overwhelming at times. So to have that like go or no go kind of checklist is huge. And then professionally, I'm an employee benefits producer. I work for USI. And similarly, we run into a lot of required data in order to get a proposal. And then one missing piece that it's stalled completely. So making sure that your end user, your loan beneficiaries, right, the people that are actually taking out the money when they provide all that documentation, there's no more mystery behind, hey, you didn't provide your pay stubs for the last quarter. You need to do that in order to qualify for this specialized program. Like, it's really smart.
Absolutely. We're always adding additional automation, things like that, where we can go through and do automated notifications based off, okay, look, we just switched over to a new month or new year. It's tax season. Can we go through and send additional notifications? Okay. Can we go through and maybe do similar to a lot of systems people are using today where, heck, we already have the credit from the lender. Why can't we keep it up to date too and give you additional, suggestions on there? So absolutely, tons of potential for what we're doing. And across other industries, heck, we had to go through and fundraise. We've had a lot of VCs and investors say, why can't we use this for deal rooms? Anything with a lot of documentation and a lot of different parties. Again, the Doc AI is the foundation. It's already there. It's faster than anything else that we've seen. Most other systems take 17 minutes to 2 hours to say upload and come back. It's like, what? Okay. Usually they're sending it off to India, which is not real AI. And then a bunch of people are data entering the information. But yeah, at the end of the day, if they want to chat, communicate, again, all the rules are there. It definitely checks all the boxes. So.
Yeah, it's brilliant. So, I mean, let's talk a little bit about the actual business side of it, right? I mean, where does this kind of come from? How did it get its start? What was the brainchild that developed RealKey into the size that it is today?
Well, honestly, it didn't originally start as what it is. So the latest iteration, I should say, we went through a couple pivots, launched in late 21. But prior to that, it was more focused on loan applications. Either way, the vision that I always had was for this essentially single space that everybody could come into one place. So there's always supposed to be a deal room at the end of the day, always supposed to have some sort of invite and collaboration piece, but it wasn't as focused as it is today on documents. That's thanks to Alan Tifford, who was the TurboTax design lead and Intuit's principal design strategist. When he started with me at RealKey, he was probably one of our earliest employees. He said, why are we focusing on loan applications? And the day you tell me your name, your date of birth, I need an ID. You tell me how much money you make and where you're employed, and I need a pay stub and tax returns. Let's just focus on the documents. At the end of the day, that's processing and underwriting. Where that originally, all of this came from is my background has been in mortgage. I was the #1 mortgage originator in the U.S. for 2 straight years. I'm the only person who's ever been licensed in all 50 states. At my prime, I was working with as a broker and banker, 450 different banks, credit unions, and lenders. And just to give you an idea, most people work with about 10 to 20. Like if you call up a broker, they're always working with Rocket Mortgage, United Wholesale Lending, PennyMac. There's a particular set of lenders that every broker works with. But I wanted to be able to do loans that nobody else could do. And so that's why I went and got not only all 50 states, I do all geographies, but I got all these different lenders so that I could have all these different loan programs. And I kind of got the reputation, if I couldn't do a loan, nobody could do it. And additionally, I wanted to be able to do it fast. So even before technology became what it is, I'd actually created one of the first ever truly paperless offices as national sales director for the largest franchise brokerage in the U.S. before the last housing crisis.
It's incredible. It really is. And it sounds like, I think we talked a little bit about this on the podcast, that the level of expertise that each one of RealKey's employees and, executives brings to the table is really, really incredible at a high level, right? So you can operate lean, but very, very efficiently because your background is so robust.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's at the end of the day what a secret to startups is I do a lot of advising, consulting now, and mentoring, and having deep industry expertise. You usually get in complex industries like mortgage, real estate, and finance. You either get a world-class engineer that has no background experience. Maybe they bought a house, but they've no idea about the industry. Or you get somebody from the industry who's just a salesperson at the end of the day, and then they go through and hire, recruit, or just can't really get out of their head what's going on. I think it's that unique cross-functional background. I mean, even prior to RealKey being national sales director, being the top mortgage person, I was a product manager and interim CTO for different companies, and so I've always kind of been in that product management. I've done UI UX. Granted, I don't do consumer-facing design. I got the head of UI UX for Roblox, the #1 gaming company in the US, is actually on RealKey's team, who actually did all the designs alongside Alan. And so I think having that world-class team allows you to know what you're building is the right thing, to skip a lot of user research and user testing, and know that what you're building is the right item, but build it quickly and then do it quality. I mean, the hardest thing to do is getting a product out the door. People spend so much time building their first MVPs, and they are missing so much on there that they actually never get to a real viable product that somebody can pay for and actually use and scale.
Nice. Yeah, no, that's it definitely is coming through the level of expertise that you guys bring to the table. I'm curious about, so you've kind of talked to me about the origins of it and how it kind of changed and grew, and then how you plan on changing it, right, and growing it even further. what is the future if you had a crystal ball and you could kind of tell me about maybe the next 6 to 12 to 24 months, what that kind of looks like for you guys?
I mean, at the end of the day, I think that it's really looking at where should the product end up being. I think that the neutrality is a principle of ours. So working with any bank, lender, broker, credit union, not aligning with one single individual. That's why we're talking to governments, because I think that governments are really the right entities, or a large conglomerate like Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, having them be the ones who, at the end of the day, might decide to acquire RealKey eventually. IPO is always a dream of everyone's, but I don't think that it's necessarily the guaranteed reality that we might end up with. So should we get acquired, I would want it to be somebody that is able to be that neutral player, rather than having a single individual bank where they try to invite in a real estate agent, and then let's say there's a RealKey competitor in the future. Right now, we don't have anybody doing what we're doing in the deal room space. Yeah, there's doc AI companies, there's processing underwriting companies, but nobody's doing the shared space. And that has to be either a new incumbent or somebody, again, fairly neutral. And so I think that's where I eventually see this going. And I'd love to, again, see it expand beyond just mortgage. I'd like to see title, escrow, insurance companies. They deal with a lot of same parties. I think that, when we're already asking, hey, we need your insurance policy. Oh, you don't have one? Would you like a quote? Okay, great. You just got qualified for a mortgage. Do you have a real estate agent? Would you like us to connect you with one? Oh, you have a real estate agent already? Again, could we connect you with the right mortgage company? If you're an untethered consumer, as we call it, you don't already have a bank or lender. I think there's just so much there. And eventually I'd love for people just to walk into their bank or lender, walk into their car dealership and say, I need a loan. All my stuff's already in RealKey. Great, you're approved. Done.
Yeah. Like it reminds me of almost like Zelle, right? Like before Zelle became the basically easiest way to transfer funds, that was probably similar story. But there's the CEO of Zelle was saying the same thing. One of these days, you're going to walk into a bank, my phone number is already going to be set up, and I can send money to whomever I want as long as I have their phone number. And I can see how that dream is definitely attainable for you. There's a thread of questions that might sound like a kind of a curveball here, but the thing that's popping into my head is around cybersecurity, right? You're dealing with like highly sensitive information. Do you have somebody like that, has really built out a robust, secure system for you to, or the servers? I don't know. I'm not a tech wizard by any means, but I'm curious about the security side of it.
Yeah, we're partnered with a very large corporation that actually manages all of our security compliance and regulations. Additionally, we've unfortunately got a great team of pedigreed individuals that have been building RealKey to begin with. So it's not just at the leadership team; it's actually you go all the way from the top down. That's one of our parts of our culture, and that's why I've been able to attract such great talent. Is that everybody wants to work with each other. I liken it to, originally I heard this on another podcast for Netflix. And that was part of their culture, was excellence and perfection, and making sure also transparency. Everybody really is there to make the product as good as it could possibly be for RealKey. And so I think that's where I've got the confidence there. Additionally, raising additional capital. So I mean, you're talking about Zelle, and any large companies, Stripe, et cetera. You name it. Any successful company in finance and fintech, at the end of the day, they got there because they had great financing and they had great backers as investors. I think that's something that RealKey, being honest, is looking for. And I think that's when we find the right investor that can see where we're going and can provide it with the right capital. I've already identified the next members of the team, and one of them is that Ocean's 11 individual on the security side of things. So I think security and compliance and privacy is so important, especially when you're dealing with such sensitive documentation. It's definitely one of our major focuses of the company, outside of innovation and making sure that this is world-class UI UX, so it's simple to use for absolutely everybody involved, and really intuitive, and works with every system everybody's using. But yeah, definitely security. So I can understand why that'd be top of mind.
I'm regularly dealing with very personal information from my clients, right? So security is always top of mind, just making sure that, you're in compliance. And I'm assuming in a very similarly highly regulated industry, mortgages and lending, it's another one of those areas of like high security that you want to make sure that you're kind of handling everybody's documents with care.
Yeah, it's also respecting our clients at the end of the day. One of the things that's also one of our principles is that we had told all of our clients we would never sell their data. We'd never sell our pipeline either. So if we were to get acquired, that's one of the things that we would not be providing as part of that is not only client data, but as far as their clients, but also our clients as well. We would never sell their data.
And that's uncommon, which is so strange nowadays.
It makes it difficult for M&A. Yeah, it definitely does. If we were to look at M&A, that's something that, unfortunately, again, everybody's used to working inside of a cookie cutter, square box. They're not used to getting creative with that. But at the end of the day, somebody was to acquire us, they already know what RealKey is and what it does. So for them not to necessarily get that pipeline, it's something that's easy to do. And always do an earn-out agreement or something like that. I'm getting way ahead of myself. Talking about, you asked about future, I'm talking about future. That is,
well, I mean, that's be the natural best way to get it out to a larger market, right? I mean, there's only so much like you guys can do to grow the organization without partnering with a larger entity to bring this nationwide, right? I mean, I think you've done an incredible job of growing the business and getting your, core competencies in place, getting your culture in place, getting your clientele, and then growing that. I think your mindset is absolutely right in the right spot, right? It's like, all right, now we got to pull in an investor, maybe partner, maybe get acquired, and then we can blow this thing up to global. If that
is exactly the plan.
Yeah. Christopher, if I was wanting to reach out to you, or if I wanted to put you in touch with an investor, or I'm listening to this and I'm like, hey, I got to know more about RealKey, how would I get in touch with you or find out more?
Yeah, I always suggest people use LinkedIn. I'd love to give out my email, but I think I would just get completely bombarded on that. And I hate spam as it is. I don't want to give out my phone number either, because that's also, I'm in meetings consistently. And the last thing I want to do is just have a full voicemail. I'm very proud of the fact I will never have a full voicemail. I'll never have unread text. I'll never have unread messages. I'm try to keep as on top of all of my communications possible, which is not always easy. But yeah, LinkedIn is probably the absolute best way to do it. You can find me, Christopher Hussain, Hussain, and then RealKey is super simple to spell, RealKey.
Fantastic. Christopher, thank you so much for your time today. Really enjoyed our conversation. I wish you the best of luck. I'm going to keep an eye out for you. RealKey, I think it's a novel idea, and I think it's going to make big waves very soon.
Absolutely. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.